AI removes the guesswork, but you must drive the execution. People love to talk about automation as if it's a magic button that will replace effort. It won't. What AI really does is eliminate the confusion that stops most beginners from even getting started. It gives you clarity faster, answers instantly, and shows you options you couldn't think of on your own. But none of that matters if you're not willing to make decisions, take action, and stay accountable to the process. AI can generate 50 product ideas in seconds, but it can't choose which one you'll commit to testing today. AI can produce high converting ad copy, but it can't force you to launch the ad. AI can design a clean landing page, but it can't push you to hit publish even when it's not perfect. That part is on you. The truth is, AI brings speed, but you bring direction. When you combine the two, you become unstoppable. But when you rely only on AI, you become passive. Too many people think using AI means they don't have to think anymore. The opposite is true. AI gives you more decisions to make, not fewer. It hands you the data, patterns, and possibilities. Your job is to choose one path fast and execute without hesitation, because hesitation is where people lose. They let doubt create delays, they second, guess everything, they wait for the perfect moment, the perfect product, the perfect strategy. But perfection is the enemy of momentum, and momentum is the only thing that creates success in fast-moving models like dropshipping. When you use AI correctly, it becomes a partner that speeds up your workflow and sharpens your strategy. It helps you skip the hours of research, the trial, and error writing, the messy, unstructured planning. Instead of wasting a full day choosing one niche, you can do it in 10 minutes. Instead of spending 2 weeks learning copywriting, you can generate a polished draft in seconds and then refine it using your intuition and understanding of your audience. But remember, AI gives you drafts, not decisions. Execution is the thing no tool can replace. Execution looks like testing. It looks like launching quick ads, studying real data, pivoting immediately when something doesn't work, and scaling aggressively when something hits. It looks like getting comfortable with uncertainty and moving anyway. AI can hand you the strategy, but you're the one who has to act on it every day, especially when you feel tired, overwhelmed, or unsure. That's where most people quit, and that's exactly where you win by staying committed. If you want to get results others won't, you must be the person who uses AI as leverage, not a crutch. The leverage is that it saves time, not that it saves you from effort. And the effort is the part people can't copy from you, the consistency, the discipline, the speed. That's your competitive advantage. So yes, AI removes the guesswork, and that's powerful, but your execution is the thing that transforms clarity into income. Only you can do that. The first 48 hours decide everything because speed is the greatest competitive advantage you have in AI-driven business. Most people waste their first 2 days thinking, planning, watching tutorials, and convincing themselves they need more information. In reality, those first 48 hours are where you build momentum, and momentum is what turns ideas into money. When you start fast, you create pressure, you force decisions, you remove the space for overthinking. That pressure is necessary because it pushes you into action before doubt starts talking you out of it. In the first 48 hours of AI dropshipping, you're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to get live. You're trying to get a real product online, a real store built, a real ad launched. The goal is movement, not mastery. When you move fast, you immediately separate yourself from 99% of people who stay stuck in learning mode. You create an advantage because you collect data early. Data tells you the truth. Data tells you what works and what doesn't. And if you can get that information faster than everyone else, you win faster than everyone else. Those 2 days are where you choose your product, build your store, write your descriptions, create your creatives, and launch your first test ads. AI makes this possible because it eliminates the long, draining tasks that used to slow people down. But AI doesn't replace your urgency. You still have to act, you still have to decide, and you still have to execute even when you're not fully confident. Confidence comes after action, not before it. When people say, I'll start tomorrow, they lose. When they say, I'll research more, they lose. Tomorrow is where excuses live. Research becomes a hiding place. But when you commit to making the first 48 hours count, you don't give yourself time to talk yourself out of the work. You go from idea to implementation. You go from thinking to doing. That shift changes everything. The reason these 48 hours matter so much is simple. The faster you get something live, the faster reality gives you feedback. Maybe the product hits, maybe it fails. Both outcomes are progress because they push you forward. If it hits, you scale. If it fails, you pivot. But you can't pivot if you never launch. You can't scale if you never test. You can't win if you never start. These early hours are also where you build your identity. You're proving to yourself that you're someone who executes, someone who moves quickly, someone who doesn't wait for perfect conditions. That identity becomes one of your biggest assets because success in business is built on patterns. Patterns of action, patterns of decision making, patterns of consistency. If you start fast, you stay fast. The first 48 hours are not about building a perfect store. They're about building momentum, and momentum is what most people never experience. They stay stuck at zero forever, but you're not staying at zero. You're launching, you're moving, you're learning in real time. And those first 48 hours are the reason you'll end up ahead of everyone who never even started. Data is always greater than feelings because feelings lie, but numbers don't. Feelings are emotional, inconsistent, and easily influenced by fear, excitement, or ego. Data is objective. Data is the truth you need to make decisions that actually move your business forward. In dropshipping, especially when you're using AI to operate at high speed, the biggest trap is becoming emotionally attached to a product, to an ad, or to an idea you want to work. But wanting something to succeed has nothing to do with whether it will. Only data can tell you that. People lose money because they chase their feelings. They love a product, so they keep pushing it even when the metrics are screaming at them to stop. They feel like an ad is good, so they ignore the low click-through rate. They think the store looks amazing, so they ignore the bounce rate. Business doesn't reward what you feel. It rewards what performs. And performance is measured in numbers. When you rely on data, decision making becomes simple. It becomes clean. You stop making emotional judgments and start making strategic ones. If your CPM is high, you adjust your audience. If your CTR is low, you adjust your creative. If your ad to heart rate is terrible, you fix your landing page. If your ROAS is negative, you cut the product. No drama, no attachment, no stories you tell yourself. Just action based on facts. This mindset is what separates people who win from people who stay stuck. Winners don't argue with data. They don't take bad results personally. They don't turn failures into identity issues. They look at the numbers, make a decision, and move fast. That speed increases your chances of success because the faster you pivot, the faster you find what works. And when something works, the data will show it clearly. Good metrics don't hide. They tell you loud and clear, scale this. The people who struggle the most are the ones who let their emotions control their actions. They keep spending money on losing ads because they believe it just needs more time. They refuse to change a product because they feel like it's a winner. They ignore the signs because the truth is uncomfortable, but business doesn't care about your comfort, it cares about your decisions. Data protects you from your own biases. It keeps you honest. It keeps you accountable. It forces you to face reality, even when it's inconvenient, and the more you accept this, the stronger you become as an entrepreneur. You become more logical, more confident, more effective. You learn to trust the process because the process is built on facts, not feelings. Data also creates clarity. It removes confusion. It answers every question you have. Should I scale? Should I stop? Should I change the creative? Should I test a new product? The numbers tell you exactly what to do. Your only job is to listen. So yes, data is greater than feelings, always. Feelings are temporary. Data is directional. Feelings make you hesitate. Data makes you act. And in this business, the people who act on truth always win over the people who act on emotion. Most people fail because they overthink, not because they're incapable, not because they don't have resources, and not because they don't have opportunities. They fail because they sit in their heads longer than they sit in the work. Overthinking is the silent killer of momentum. It feels like preparation, but it's actually procrastination dressed up as intelligence. It convinces you that you need more time, more clarity, more certainty, more research, more confidence, when the truth is, you just need to do the next thing. Action creates clarity, but overthinking convinces you to wait for clarity before acting. That loop keeps people stuck for years. Most people don't realize that overthinking comes from fear, not strategy. They want the outcome, but they want a guarantee first. They want success, but they want to avoid anything that feels risky, messy, or imperfect. So they start predicting problems that don't exist yet. They start imagining negative outcomes that aren't real. They create scenarios in their minds that stop them from taking the very step that would get them closer to winning. Overthinking tricks you into believing you're being responsible or cautious when really you're just avoiding discomfort. In business, especially with AI speeding everything up, your ability to decide quickly is more valuable than your ability to decide perfectly. The market rewards speed, algorithms reward speed, momentum rewards speed. Overthinking kills speed. That's why people with less talent but more execution beat people with more talent but slower decisions. They move, they learn, they adjust. Meanwhile, the overthinker is still analyzing the idea that someone else has already turned into income. When you overthink, you delay. When you delay, you lose the timing, and timing matters. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, you'll launch next week, you'll get serious in next month. But the longer you wait, the heavier the idea becomes. You lose confidence, you lose excitement, you lose the window where action would have been easy. Momentum isn't something you find, it's something you create, and overthinking destroys it before it can even begin. People who win don't think less, they think differently. They think in terms of action, not avoidance. They think in terms of testing, not perfection. They make decisions with the information they have right now instead of waiting for more. They trust themselves to figure things out while moving, not before moving. They understand that failure isn't final, it's feedback, and because they're not afraid of feedback, they don't overthink the steps required to get it. Overthinking is a habit, so is execution. One drains you, the other builds you. One keeps you stuck, the other pushes you forward. You get to choose which habit defines your life. If you want progress, you have to stop giving your mind the power to talk you out of action. Decide faster, act sooner, adjust later. That's how you win, by doing what most people will keep thinking about forever. Copying the process is better than copying the product because products come and go, but systems create results over and over again. When you copy someone's winning product, you're already behind. The market has seen it, competitors have optimized it, ads are more expensive, margins shrink. By the time you jump in, the opportunity is usually gone. But when you copy the asterisk process asterisk, the way they research, test, launch, analyze, and scale, you can create unlimited opportunities instead of chasing one. A product is temporary, a process is permanent. Most beginners don't understand this. They see someone making money with a trending item and think, if I sell this too, I'll win. They skip the foundation and jump straight to the shortcut, but shortcuts without understanding always lead back to zero. And when the product stops performing, they're stuck because they never learned how to find the next one. When you copy the process, you give yourself a repeatable formula. You know how to find products, how to validate demand, how to build a store quickly, how to create creatives, how to run test ads, how to read data, and how to pivot. That framework doesn't expire. It doesn't depend on luck. It doesn't rely on someone else revealing their winner. It becomes a skill you own forever. The people who succeed long term aren't the ones who found one good product. They are the ones who can find new products every week because their system is solid. They don't panic when something stops working. They don't chase trends blindly. They simply run the process again and again and again. That consistency compounds into experience, and experience compounds into profit. Copying the product also disconnects you from the learning you need to grow. You don't know why it works. You don't know how it was found. You don't understand the creative angle. You don't know the data thresholds they used to scale. You're guessing the entire time, and guessing is not a business strategy. It's gambling. Gambling leads to emotional decisions, and emotional decisions destroy businesses. But copying the process teaches you to think like someone who wins consistently. It teaches you discipline, it teaches you patience, it teaches you how to trust data instead of instinct, it teaches you how to operate like a builder, not a follower. Once you understand a process, you can adapt it, refine it, improve it, and eventually innovate beyond the people you learned it from. The process becomes your safety net. When ads stop working, you have a process. When a product dies, you have a process. When the market shifts, you have a process. No matter what happens, you know exactly what to do next. That level of clarity is what people mistake for luck. It's not luck, it's structure. So yes, copying the product might make you money once. Copying the process can make you money for the rest of your life. That's the difference between momentary success and sustainable skill. That's the difference between chasing opportunities and creating them. And that's why the process will always be more powerful than the product.